2:47 a.m. local time, Strait of Hormuz. The water is black. No moon. The kind of night where the horizon disappears entirely and the sea and sky become one unbroken darkness. There are no navigation lights on the Iranian coastline to the north. No commercial vessels in the immediate lane. Just open water and the quiet hum of 3 warships moving with purpose through one of the most contested stretches of ocean on Earth. 3 U.S. Navy guided missile destroyers, USS Truxtun, USS Rafael Peralta, and USS Mason, move in tight formation through the narrow corridor between Iranian territorial waters and the Gulf of Oman. Transit speed, standard spacing, the kind of formation that has passed through this strait thousands of times before. The mission is routine on paper. Nothing about the next 22 minutes will be routine. Inside the Combat Information Center aboard Truxtun, the watch rotation is quiet. Sonar operators track the ambient ocean noise. Surface radar sweeps every few seconds, painting the water ahead in green lines of data. The bridge crew monitors the chart. Escort spacing holds within acceptable margins. Everything checks. Then the electronic warfare suite begins to register something. Radar emissions, not civilian, not commercial. Low-frequency pulse patterns sweeping from the Iranian coastline to the north. The electronic warfare technician marks the frequency, compares it against the library, and leans forward slightly. Iranian surface search radar active. The log entry is time-stamped 2:47:11. No alarm yet. No sudden movement. This stretch of water is known for surveillance. Iranian sensors probe every vessel that transits the strait. The Revolutionary Guard Navy maintains coastal radar coverage across the entire northern approach. Most nights, the emissions mean exactly nothing. Tonight is different. At 2:48, a second emission appears. Different frequency, tighter beam. Pulse repetition rate higher than a passive search system would require. The electronic warfare technician does not need to consult the manual. That pattern is not surveillance. That is targeting behavior. The difference between the two is subtle to the uninformed eye, but unmistakable to anyone trained to read the waveform. A search radar sweeps. A fire control radar focuses. What is appearing on the screen right now is focused. The EW tech reports immediately. Possible fire control radar. Bearing 015. The watch officer straightens without a word. The information begins to move through the ship. The tactical display updates in real time. 3 surface contacts appear just off the Iranian coastline. Fast patrol boats, small hulls, low radar cross-section, but at this range visible. Very fast. Already moving at over 30 knots and accelerating. Their course is converging, not drifting, not paralleling, not crossing at a casual angle, converging on the formation's projected track. Deliberately. The geometry does not leave room for interpretation. At 2:49, the radio operator aboard Truxtun attempts the first hail on the international bridge-to-bridge channel. Professional tone, measured cadence, repeated in English and in Farsi, clearly without aggression. Unidentified Iranian naval vessels, this is a United States Navy formation operating in international waters. State your intentions and maintain safe distance. No response. The contacts keep accelerating. The hail is logged. Silence is logged. Everything is being recorded. At 2:50, the picture sharpens further. The contacts are not alone. High above the formation, a passive infrared sensor aboard Truxtun detects a warm exhaust trace moving in a slow, disciplined orbit at altitude. A UAV, an Iranian tactical drone circling at height. Its thermal signature just bright enough to register against the cold upper atmosphere. The formation is being watched. And not just watched, guided. Intelligence is flowing from that drone to the fast boats below, feeding them real-time positioning data, keeping their approach vectors updated as the destroyers move. This is not an impulse. This is a plan. A plan that began before the destroyers ever entered the strait. Someone decided tonight was the night to test what 3 American warships would do when cornered in narrow water with no room to disengage cleanly. On the bridge of Truxtun, the commanding officer receives the full brief. 3 fast attack craft, active fire control radar, airborne ISR overhead, hails unanswered, closest point of approach under 2 nautical miles at current heading if no one alters course. Time to that geometry, under 4 minutes. The order comes evenly. Weapons-free status review. Defensive posture. Log all contacts. The ship does not turn. It does not accelerate. It does not slow. It holds course. Because in a narrow strait, abrupt course changes do not reduce risk. They signal uncertainty. And uncertainty in this geometry is an invitation. At 2:51, aboard USS Mason, the second destroyer in formation, the tactical action officer is watching the same picture feed over the data link. He notes the spacing of the 3 Iranian contacts, one angling for the lead destroyer's bow, one threading toward the formation gap between Truxtun and Rafael Peralta, one holding wide on the port flank, positioned to monitor the entire formation's response before committing. The geometry is not random. It has been practiced. The wide flanker is the diagnostic tool. It will watch what the American ships do and relay that information to the others. It is the eye of the maneuver. The TAO says it quietly to the officer beside him. They're splitting us. No one disagrees. At 2:52, the Iranian fast boats cross inside 5 nautical miles. Their hull profiles are now sharp enough on the electro-optical cameras to identify deck configurations. Low-profile hulls. Angular superstructures. Armed deck positions clearly visible. Crew members braced against the speed. These are not fishing vessels. These are not patrol craft running a routine coastal check. They are running a coordinated intercept at over 40 knots, and every second of their approach closes the geometry another fraction of a nautical mile. Inside Mason, a second fire control radar spike appears. This one is different from the first. Higher frequency. The EW tech aboard Mason speaks calmly. Second fire control emitter. Bearing 008. Airborne. The drone is not just watching, it is guiding a weapon solution. What is happening above the formation is not observation. It is targeting from the sky using the thermal silhouette of the destroyers to calculate firing solutions and feed them down to the boats below. At 2:53, the first Iranian fire control radar locks solid on Truxtun. The hard lock tone activates in the Combat Information Center. The sound is steady, pulsing, and every person in that room knows exactly what it means. An Iranian weapon system has calculated a firing solution on a United States Navy warship. The window between a completed solution and a weapon launch can be under 30 seconds. The captain gives the next order without raising his voice. Activate countermeasures. Deploy electronic jamming. Prepare close-in weapon systems. Warning shots authorized upon threshold confirmation. Along the hull, electronic countermeasure transmitters come online simultaneously. The ocean fills with artificial noise, false radar returns, signal interference, overlapping frequency bursts. To the Iranian fire control system, Truxtun's position becomes uncertain. The lock flickers. It does not break, but it degrades. 30 seconds of degraded lock is 30 seconds the crew can use. At 2:54, the second radio hail goes out. This time it is firm. No ambiguity in the phrasing. Iranian naval vessels, you are conducting unsafe maneuvers against United States Navy ships in international waters. Alter course immediately. Your actions are being recorded. Again, no response. Instead, the lead Iranian fast boat makes a small correction, tightening its intercept angle just a few degrees. Not a dramatic move, a calculated one. It is testing whether the warning is real. It is. At 2:54:38, the lead Iranian fast boat fires a rocket-propelled munition from its forward deck. Not a heavyweight weapon, not an anti-ship missile. A warning round, short range, aimed deliberately wide and short. It lands 180 meters off Truxtun's port bow. The column of water that rises in the dark is visible on the electro-optical feed from the bridge. Close enough to hear the report of the launch across the water. Close enough to matter. The action crosses the threshold. On the bridge, the call goes out. Warning shots authorized, execute. Truxtun's forward gun mount rotates with mechanical precision and fires 2 controlled rounds. The splashes appear 200 meters directly ahead of the lead Iranian boat. White columns rising out of black water. Direct, precise, unmistakable. The message requires no translation. You are inside the line. We are watching. We are ready. And we are not moving. For 4 full seconds, the Iranian lead boat holds its course. 4 seconds at 40 knots is still ground covered. Then the bow begins to settle. Speed drops. The intercept angle starts to widen. The fire control radar emission from that boat flickers on the EW display and goes partially silent. Not fully, but enough. One threat begins to fold. Two remain. At 2:55, the drone overhead tightens its orbit. Its thermal sensors are attempting to hold lock on Truxtun's hull signature through the electronic interference now filling the spectrum. Inside the CIC, the air picture coordinator tracks the drone's track on the tactical display. The drone is small, fast, and staying above the countermeasure envelope. It is threading between the jamming and continuing to feed data downward. As long as the drone is flying, the Iranian boats below have eyes. Take away the drone, and the boats are operating blind in near zero visibility. The commanding officer of Truxtun understands this in the same moment. Take out the eye, he orders. Close-in weapon system, anti-drone engagement, authorized. At 2:56, Truxtun's close-in weapon system engages. A controlled burst of 20mm rounds traces upward into the darkness above. The firing solution had been building for 60 seconds before the order was given. The CIWS does not guess. It calculates and fires with statistical precision. On the tactical display, the drone's track wobbles once. Then the infrared signature goes cold. The guidance link breaks. The drone's transmission stops mid-cycle. Aboard the two remaining Iranian fast boats, the picture goes dark. The targeting data feeding from above disappears. Their onboard systems now show only what their own sensors can see, and what their own sensors can see in this darkness at this distance with countermeasures active is very little. They are no longer hunters with overhead guidance. They are two small boats moving fast through black water without a map. At 2:57, the remaining two Iranian boats lose their coordinated fire control solution. Without the drone's data link, the firing solution that had been building degrades below threshold. The boats are still armed. They are still fast. But they are now acting on instinct rather than calculation, and instinct in narrow water against three fully combat-ready destroyers is a losing proposition. Their speed drops, not dramatically, not all at once, but the purposeful forward drive of a coordinated approach becomes something else, something less certain. Inside Mason, the tactical action officer watches the geometry shift. Contact 2 reducing closure rate, Contact 3 altering bearing, formation cohesion degrading. The radio crackles, not directed at the destroyers. Internal Iranian communications captured by the EW suite. The Farsi transmission is brief. The translation comes back 30 seconds later, passed quietly to the commanding officer. Abort. Return to base. At 2:59, both remaining Iranian boats turn north. Their wakes angle toward the Iranian coastline. They are not fleeing at panic speed, they are withdrawing at transit pace. The speed of a decision already made, an exit that leaves no dramatic moment to point at and no public footage to release. They came from the dark and they return to it. Inside the formation, no announcement goes out. No all-hands broadcast. The watch rotation continues. The ships hold their course. The radio hails are transmitted one final time, professionally without emotion. Iranian naval vessels, you are withdrawing. Maintain safe distance. No further warning is required. No further warning comes. At 03:01, the tactical display aboard Truxtun shows 3 Iranian contacts on steady northern headings. Closing range to the Iranian coast. No fire control emissions. No active targeting. No drone signature anywhere in the air picture. The threat picture has collapsed from a coordinated multi-axis ambush to 3 patrol boats heading home. The commanding officer of Truxtun steps back from the tactical display. Final status review, he orders. The brief that comes back is concise. No U.S. casualties, no hull damage across any of the 3 ships. All countermeasures expended within doctrine. All engagements recorded and time-stamped, defensive posture held throughout the duration. The formation never altered its transit course. USS Truxtun, USS Rafael Peralta, and USS Mason continue toward the Gulf of Oman at the same heading, the same speed, the same spacing they held before 0247 appeared on the log. At 3:04, the Strait of Hormuz looks exactly as it did an hour ago. Black water, no moon, distant lights on the Iranian coastline now silent and still. The only evidence of what happened is what cannot be seen from the surface. A drone resting on the seabed somewhere to the north, and 3 patrol boats running quietly back to their base with a report no one in their chain of command wants to write. Inside the combat information centers of 3 ships, the data archive is complete. Every radar emission captured across the full frequency spectrum. Every fire control lock recorded with timestamp and duration. Every course change logged to the meter. Every countermeasure deployment documented. Every second of communication, both transmitted and received, preserved. This is not a record kept for headlines. It is a record kept for intelligence. For the analysts who will study the Iranian patrol boat doctrine and find the seams in it. For the engineers who will look at the drone's guidance frequency and identify how to break it faster next time. For the commanders who will review the fire control radar patterns and understand exactly how Iran calibrates its aggression in the Hormuz corridor. Tonight's ambush delivered all of that into American hands without a single sailor being hurt. The formation clears the narrowest point of the strait at 3:06. Open water begins to widen ahead. The geometric pressure that narrow water creates dissolves as the sea expands around the 3 ships. The watch supervisor makes a final notation. Transit complete. Hostile contacts withdrew. No further threats detected. Maintain standard ASW posture until clear of the operational area. The captain of Truxtun does not celebrate. There is nothing to celebrate about an encounter that should not have happened in international waters. But there is something to note, quietly, in the way that professionals note the things that matter. The ships held their line. The systems worked. The training held. And when the moment came to demonstrate that restraint is not weakness, that documentation is not passivity, that the decision to hold course can carry more weight than the decision to escalate, the formation answered that test without hesitation and without drama. Somewhere along the Iranian coastline, a conversation is happening that the destroyers will never hear. Someone is explaining why the ambush failed, why the drone went down, why the fire control solutions degraded before a weapon could be committed, why 3 American destroyers sailed through the Strait of Hormuz in the dark and emerged on the other side untouched, their logs full of evidence and their hulls full of sailors who never knew how close the margin had been. The Gulf of Oman opens ahead. The strait falls behind. The water is still black. The stars are still hidden. And 3 warships move forward in formation, steady, quiet, and exactly where they are supposed to be. Because out here, in the narrow water between nations, control doesn't belong to the side that fires first. It belongs to the side that was already ready before the first radar pulse ever left the Iranian coastline. And tonight, in the dark, that side held the line without giving an inch of it away.